Patch 3.3. Time for some serious business. Icecrown Citadel is out. This is my guild, Solstice, and this is our first attempts on Marrowgar, and why it took us 2 attempts to finally down him on the third. Number one, here's what you first see. There's about 15 pulls of trash, maybe about 4 to 6 mobs, and then you get to the boss. This is wipe number one. As you can see, this is the first time he did his whirlwind. All the tanks and everybody's panicking. The problem is watch the tanks. You need to focus on not panicking and practically being in everybody's hip at all times. You can see right here, the first tank, our main tank, was all by himself. I was close, but I was not close enough. He died. Then I took a couple of 20 and 50k Saber lashes. This whole point is you have to have, currently, at least with our gear, 3 tanks within 5 yards of each other to absorb his Saber lash. I don't know the exact cooldown on this thing, but it sure seemed to happen like every 3 seconds. So you do want to have a cooldown always going, something always on you. It seemed to be a consistent 16 to about 20,000 damage. Um, you can't say anything about the healers. They are struggling. They've got a lot to heal. They've got a lot to focus on, a lot of movement. But right here at wipe 2, if you watch the tank, go back a few seconds. The warrior, he got hit by the Saber Lash and went from 100% health to 60% health, 18% health, up to 21, up to 34, and he was dead. Over a matter of like less than 10 seconds. And here's me. I'm like, this is our second wipe. I can't figure it out. I go over my death report, and it's like, I'm reading this thing. Okay, they're consistent 16k damage. And then my last two, because one tank was down, was 26k and 25k. So, besides the healing, the tanks have to be together at all times. Maybe later on, when we've got a lot more stamina, a lot more health, we can mitigate this a lot better. But for now, we have 3 tanks, and we are practically hugging each other the whole time. This is our attempt number 3. We did down him, and this was just awesome. You have to focus on the tanks more so than anything else. He does a bone spike, that pretty much you need to get people out of. No ifs, ands, or buts. He's got his little light, flames that shoot out every now and then, but they're so slow you can easily run out of the way. He does his whirlwind, and what got us the first couple times is, sure, we watched the videos and whatnot, but everyone wasn't sure on the damage. Okay, on a tank, myself, my average damage was about 500 to about, 1800. That was nothing. Easily healable through. You figure maybe on a non-tank, 3,000, something like that. I'll get the exact numbers later on, but it's not as bad as you think. The one thing you do want to focus on, if you're not the tank, is being sure not to be in those fires. When he does his bone storm, watch out, because he will spray out 4 of them instead of the usual just one line like you can see here. That will make it a little bit more hectic for the healers and DPS, but just relax. It's still pretty slow. You have time to get out of the way. You have time to be healed up. You've got health stones, hopefully. Just watch what you're doing and keep it together. Majority of this fight is seriously stressed on the tanks. If they can stay together, if they can keep their cooldowns going, if their healers can keep them up on top of everything else, it's a sure win. Marrowgar was so much easier compared to the next boss, which is going to be the next video out. But as you can see here, it's really nothing if you start relaxing and just doing your job. You know, here comes his little whirlwind. All his tanks are together. You know, you can stand around and kind of watch what's going. And here he shoots off a couple flames. It's not that bad. And as this is going on, we're relaxing more. We're joking over vent. You know, if you can do that, it makes it a lot more easier for everybody. A couple of other things I wanted to go over. Not to make it sound like this fight is extremely easy, there are things that you need to keep in mind. One is after he does his little 30-second whirlwind, if you're a DPS, stop attacking him, wait for the tanks, pop a couple misdirects on him. It is a complete aggro reset. We haven't had any issues on that, but just so for future reference and anyone else that is watching this, be mindful of that. It is really easy, once he stops, to have the tanks be, trapped within fire and not being able to get to him in time, that you could wipe a raid just by attacking him. So keep that in mind. The second thing is looking over the report on our second wipe. I happened to notice in my combat log that after our first tank died, even with the consistent Saber Lash, going off like 16,000 and all the great healing I got, there was still 4 times that he completely missed me. I didn't look at the warriors, I didn't look at the paladins, but he completely missed me. And this is with 2 tanks up. I don't know if that's related to the cooldowns, or just, I was lucky. But that's another place where you don't need to necessarily start freaking out. Just get into the habit of keeping all your cooldowns going. Chain them somehow. Find your favorite ones, but have something always on you. If you don't, call it out, let them know. But having those misses, that completely saves a lot of healers' mana. It kept me alive with just 2 tanks. The problem is the last 2 hits. Okay, sure, I got all those misses, but then I get, spiked up with this 20,000 Saber Lash. I get my little renew and, rejuve and greater heal and all that stuff coming in, and then bam, 50k health gone. And that was with 2 tanks. So, you win some, you lose some, but it was still nice to realize that a complete miss. Now, as far as these videos go, the previous couple with Anubrak and our 25-man hard mode attempts, a lot of these are, at least for me, training videos. What did we do right? What did we do wrong? How can we improve it? Things like that. But going into Icecrown Citadel with the basic amount of knowledge and still downing a couple bosses, hot damn, we did awesome. This guild was just on the ball, did their job, and he is dead. And we take a few minutes to go over loot. But I did want to mention to you guys, start subscribing. What I basically am going to be doing is about 4 to 6 videos a week. Not only the raid footage from my guild, but our Molten Core runs, some achievement runs, and some soloing on a Death Knight. I might throw out a couple other classes, but take the opportunity to subscribe. You really don't want to miss what I'm doing, and there's going to be an extreme amount of variety. Speaking of which, Lady Deathwhisper is going to be the next video. We downed her as well, yay us. Along with a huge congrats to Soldier and Fallen, the guild's 2 legendaries holders. Soldier will be getting Shadowmourne, and Fallen, who deserves a video, got Valnir back in Ulduar. So, thank you for watching, and away we go.